Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to continue on soft resetting for Bloodmoon Ursaluna. I tried to get through and just like, I don't know if this is a completely accurate number of encounters I've done so far. I definitely did some off stream last night and I had zero luck on finding a 0 speed IV. But I think I've done about like 14 live. I've definitely done more since I've done some off stream, but yeah, getting this Bloodmoon Ursaluna. Whew. Wait, why am I doing this? I do not want to be trying to level up this Pokemon on accident. But yeah, we're just gonna jump into it. So yeah, if you're new to the stream right now, hey Kimberly, I saw your message and sorry, it's not definitely not personal if I go live later than your time zone, but I do try to keep in mind that I do have some viewers here in Europe. So hopefully this is a decent time. I'm gonna do a little bit of a stream before I go into work today. But the idea here is I'm using a Sinistcha, and if I outspeed the Bloodmoon Ursaluna, that means that the Bloodmoon Ursaluna has 0 speed IV. But if the Bloodmoon Ursaluna outspeeds me, I instantly soft reset and try again. So I'm pretty much trying to save as much time as possible on this hunt, but the issue with the Bloodmoon Ursaluna is that it typically has 3 perfect IVs. So it's going to be a really tough one to get the right IV spread for. I might make some exceptions for attack IV. We'll see. I at least want 0 speed IV. That's kind of my goal. So we'll see how that ends up working out for us today. But yeah, we're just jumping right into it. I might as well put my first encounter up. We were at 15. What's your let's hear the bad news first, Kimberly. That way we can end with some good news. Let's see. Alright, so let me use Strength Sap here. Alright, we soft reset. Because it's faster than us. So if you're wondering, my Sinistcha is at 78 speed, exactly, the stat. And this Ursaluna that we encounter has a static nature of hardy. So pretty much data miners or people in general have figured out that if you want 0 speed, well technically you don't have to be a data miner, you just use Pokemon Showdown. You put in the level 70 Ursaluna, you put hardy nature, and our goal is to get 0 speed IV, right? So you put that in, and it'll show that the stat product for speed is 77 speed. So that's the whole point of doing this strategy. I've seen people use Azumarill, I've seen people use Grimmsnarl. But I'm using Sinistcha mainly because I can use Strength Sap. If I find out that we are encountering the 0 speed, on the next turn I can use Strength Sap, and if I heal more than 103 HP from Strength Sap, that means it's not 0 attack IV. Your mom's uncle died today? I'm really sorry to hear that, Kimberly. That's terrible news. That's horrible news to have. I hope that your family can overcome this tragedy. Alright. Let's see. Yo, what's up, Alfie? Great to see you, buddy. How's everything going? Good morning to you. I'm gonna try to just... I mean, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening today. But yeah, I can't move on and catch the Paradox legendaries until I finish Bloodmoon Ursaluna, and I've been putting this off for a while because I do want to catch a legitimate IV, one they can use for competitive. So, yeah. I mean, for all I know, this will be worth the investment because I'm thinking that the Unova remakes or sequels or whatever they end up being are going to be a continuation of Gen 9. And the VGC will probably carry over to that region. I'm really hoping so, at least. So Bloodmoon Ursaluna, I'm assuming, will still be pretty viable in competitive Pokemon for a year or two for now. Back at work today, I see. Yeah, I gotta go to work in a couple hours myself. I had off yesterday for the holiday, which was nice. But yeah, and how that is though, getting back into the work grind. Just time flies, yo. I can't believe we're already into 2024. What was your good news, by the way, Kimberly? I don't think you mentioned your good news. All right, let's see. You got a new joystick on the Nintendo Switch. What did you get your joystick for? Is there a certain game that you're going to use it with? Excuse me. Or do you mean that your Joy-Cons were drifting and maybe you got some new ones? That would be cool too. I think a Legends game would be a lot of fun. There's a part of me that feels like they're hinting at Unova is going to be... Like, based on like how the Paradox Pokemon are in Scarlet and Violet, it feels that there might be a Legends Johto game that might talk about Celebi or like maybe even like the origins of the legendary beasts. Or, I don't know, I have a strong feeling that with the Unova connections and the Indigo Disc, that they might do a similar remake. I don't know if you, like, I think Alpha you probably didn't play during the DS era potentially, but during X and Y, whenever they introduced Mega Evolution in the Kalos region, they made remakes for Ruby and Sapphire that were essentially sequels to that game, and they were like a continuation of X and Y's story, and they added new Mega Evolutions, and it was probably one of the best remakes Pokemon's ever made. And I mean, I know a lot of people love Legends Arceus, but I'm a battler at the end of the day, so I get really excited about, like, if they made a Unova game and they added new Paradox Pokemon, that would be exciting to me. And I personally feel like there's still a lot of lore that they could like explain with Terapagos, and maybe there's a connection to Kyurem with like the whole crystallizing and terrestrializing. All right, this is actually my 18th attempt. I forgot to set an encounter forward on the last one. Yo, what's up, Ada? Great to see you. Thank you for the luck. I'm definitely gonna need it. Oh, you broke the old joystick. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Alright, we saw what to say here. I've actually been meaning to fix the Joy-Cons on my other... my original Joy-Cons I got for my Switch. I've been meaning to send them in. I even printed out the label like a year ago, but I never took the time to go package them and mail them. I wonder if I could still use the same label. But yeah, that's something I've been meaning to do. I've been using these knockoff ones. No, they're not knockoffs, they're official licensed Joy-Cons, but I just went to GameStop and they only had like one color variation. I didn't even care, I just bought it. Yeah, they've grown on me, I kind of like them. Yeah, they could add more DLC, but I feel like I would be down for like a continuation of Gen 9 in a new game. Like, say we go back to the Unova region and it's like pretty much like a Black and White 3. Some people speculate it could be Pokemon Gray, but I feel like if they name it Pokemon Gray, it might be too confusing to players what it is. Like, it shouldn't be like, because if they do Gray, people will think it's like Emerald or Platinum or something like that. But I think they should just make a sequel to Unova and add new Paradox Pokemon, have terrestrializing be the main mechanic in it. That would be super cool in my opinion. Alright, Ada, I hope you have a good day at work today. Yeah, I guess that's true. They didn't really do... Like, DLC is a rather new aspect to the franchise. Yeah, so far it's been good, Kimberly. Can't complain. I did see there was some crazy earthquakes in Japan. Like, the day of New Year's, which is pretty insane. Let's see. Man, Japan must be wild to live in. Because not only are there frequent earthquakes, there's a big risk of tsunamis. So we set up for set. Yeah, this hunt is actually kind of insane. I mean, in theory, for us to get at least one 0 speed IV, we'd have to... I think the odds are we'd have to at least do 31 encounters for the chance. I mean, granted, it's not guaranteed that we'll even find one within 31. But yeah. I found zero. I've not found 1 0 speed IV yet, so that's very interesting. That is true, yeah. That is, I mean, as far as I remember, in Scarlet Violet, being able to terrestrialize outside of like Area 0 and such is still rather new in the game. The ball, like the crystal Terra orb that we carry around in the game is only like 10 years old, if I remember correctly. So a lot of this technology is still relatively new and only been created because of the research from Toro and what's the other lady's name? I can't remember. Suro? Or something like... I don't know why I can't remember her name. The Scarlet lady. But yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, technically, it's not that Pokemon has to answer every question about lore that we have. I mean, we all know that Pokemon does a great job of completely ignoring certain like box legendaries or like mythical Pokemon in a generation and not really explaining them until generations later. I mean, even Melmetal, like, I feel like we've never gotten a real explanation of what Melmetal and Meltan are. They've just kind of appeared, and yeah. Yeah, exactly. Alfie. You had a party for the New Year countdown. Very nice. I'm not gonna lie, me and my girl, we kind of fell asleep early and missed the countdown. Just getting to that age where, unless we're like out at a big event, tend to get kind of tired by midnight these days. It's so funny because I have so much insomnia typically, but of course, fall asleep on New Year's. Alright, I think I'm at 20 encounters right now. Give or take. Alright, I'll stop for a sec. But yeah, I mean... Meltan, you know what's interesting? I saw someone tweet that you can actually evolve Meltan into Melmetal with the metal alloy in Scarlet and Violet. But understand, you can't actually bring Meltan or Melmetal into the game. Which makes me think maybe there will be another update or another like DLC, whether it be paid or free DLC that they release that allows us to bring in even more Pokemon into the National Dex. Because someone who was like a data miner or hacker, pretty much, I guess they hacked in Meltan, and it is able to interact with the metal alloy item that you get from the lotto. Yo, what's up, Chimchar? Good to see you. You stayed up till midnight. Awesome. And no, why are you missing my streams then? No, I'm just joking. I'm kidding. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, I saw this on Twitter and I was like, wait, that's really cool. But then I realized you can't actually transfer in Meltan or Melmetal in this gen. So they figured something out that you can't actually do, but the item works with it. So that was interesting. That's good to hear, Chimchar. I'm just out here trying my best to get lucky. I'll be doing another one of these streams tomorrow, more than likely. I'm off tomorrow, but I'm going to be flying out on my trip later in the evening. So I will probably do an early stream like around the same time tomorrow. Trying to do my best at potentially getting lucky with this roll. I'm thinking I'm probably going to settle for a 0 speed and hopefully not 31 in attack. But yeah, I'm going to make a compromise more than likely. The odds of finding this with 2-0 attack IVs is so rare. Definitely rarer than hunting a shiny Pokemon. That's how rare it is. But yeah. Essentially, if it's faster than me, we just soft reset. There's no point in continuing the fight. The Ursaluna with the IV spread that we're looking for should have 0 speed IV. And we've calculated our Pokemon that we're leading with that we're 1 speed faster than that. So if we're not faster, then it's not even the right IV spread. No point in battling it and trying to catch it. We're just wasting our time. So, yeah. Yes, I did, Kimberly. I used it. I've been using it for sure in the game. I'm really sorry because I did want to try and do some BP hunting, but I need to prep a little bit for Regulation F for when I get back from my trip. And yeah, that requires me to actually sit down and catch this Pokemon. I'm really hoping I get lucky and at least catch one that I can keep and I can move on today or tomorrow. But yeah, like I said, we'll just kind of bear with it. Hopefully we can at least find something usable. But yeah, to be fair, Bloodmoon Ursaluna is not really a Pokemon that I'm like a big fan of using. But I just want to at least have the option to use it if I decide to. Especially when I want to get back into the competitive cycle after this current Worlds. Like, I probably will play the tournament regional that's going to be in Los Angeles in May. I think it's May. Just to do it, because I don't really have to travel. And I just have to pay for the entrance fee. And I'll see a bunch of my friends. But, yeah. Definitely just more for casual fun this season. Alright, let's see. Spam through all of this, you know? Also, if you're watching on YouTube, definitely hit that like button. It does help my content out a lot here on the platform. And I appreciate you just tuning in. Hopefully you're having a great day if you're hanging out, if you have the day off. Whatever you're doing, maybe you're grinding some shiny Pokemon, maybe you're just getting some BP. Also, feel free, if you're a viewer and you're still trying to hunt the group BP in the BBQs, maybe there's people in the chat that you can like group up with and get that done. I'm not going to be doing anything like that until I end up catching these legendary Pokemon. Because this stuff is a little bit of a grind. I'm a cook at my I work as a cook at this job. I have 2 jobs. One I'm a cook and the other one I'm an IT specialist. Which one do I like more? They both have their perks. I like working in the food like the restaurant because it's a respectable restaurant and I pretty much get hooked up with free food every day I work. I can take home stuff as well. Excuse me. But my other job is definitely more ideal for me. It's just tough because my other job is not as consistent. It's more about when we have big projects and such. But that's what you gotta do in America, is work multiple jobs, unless you have something really solid going on. Alright. Let's get another encounter. So we're around 23. Again, we're still... Until we get to 31, it's not like the worst, I guess, but... Until I actually see the one that's slower than me, this is still like a... I have not seen the fruits of my labor yet, if that makes sense. Right. Come on. Yep. Can you visit it? I mean, you could probably. If you travel all the way to America. Let's see. I remember when I first moved out to Los Angeles, I was very intrigued by like some of the food, because there's a lot of like I don't know if trendy is the right word to describe it. There's a lot of experimentation of like different cultures, like trying to like make hybrid foods and like different like high-end burgers or whatever. But I've always been intrigued by the idea of mixing Italian food with Japanese food. I mean, it's something that's already kind of done. Like if you ever look at like bento from Japanese stores, you'll kind of see, I think it's called Napolitan spaghetti. It's pretty much just like spaghetti, but their sauce is made more with like ketchup instead of like tomato sauce. But I always thought it'd be kind of interesting to have like some sort of like restaurant that was focused on noodles, and that could be maybe like pasta over like an actual typical like udon or some type of like soba or some type of like noodle for ramen. But maybe like the broth, instead of it being like a broth or like a bone soup or something, it could be like a tomato bisque or some type of like kind of like Italian sauce, like a red sauce or marinara or something. And like maybe it's like a dipping noodle, kind of like udon, where you get like these like nice hearty noodles that taste good, and then it's like the sauce is like the complement. I thought that'd be kind of like an interesting type of street food to make, but yeah, I mean, it'd obviously have to be all about the ingredients, like how to make it good. Plus, like, it doesn't necessarily sound that good for you, like. But I mean, street food, right? It's supposed to be feel good food. All right, let's see. I'm gonna try my best to keep the encounters accurate, but it's whatever. I didn't even have an encounter going yesterday, which I thought was a missed opportunity. So I'm glad I decided to at least give a visual for people that are popping in and out to see like where I'm at on this hunt. You know, like I know where I'm at because I'm living it, but when you see that number on the screen, you realize how insane I am trying to actually play this legitimately. Am I good at making pizza? Actually, believe it or not, I do like making pizza. I've worked in restaurants years ago where I've made pizzas. When I used to live out on the East Coast, in Pittsburgh, there was a restaurant called Permane Brothers. Very famous Pittsburgh sandwich shop. I always have to eat a Permane sandwich when I come back to Pittsburgh. It's like my go-to. Need to eat like a pastrami with egg sandwich. It's just something about it. It's nostalgic to me, and it's like a staple of Pittsburgh. If you've ever been out in that area, you probably know what I'm talking about, actually. But yeah, we used to make pizzas there. Not used to, they still do, but when I used to work at Permane Brothers, pretty much like, yeah, it's like working on the grill. We had a pizza station. And occasionally I do like making pizza at home, like from scratch. I've never made any from fresh dough. Usually we'd like buy something from a Trader Joe's just to like save time. But my goal ultimately when it comes to eating at home is to try to not rely on like store-bought product, if that makes sense. I want to try to strip down my diet to simple ingredients. Like I don't want to be buying bread that has preservatives in it. I want to make my own bread that will go moldy in a couple days because it's better for you. And I mean, it's bread. Bread's not even that good for you to begin with, but it's better than buying store-bought bread. Pretty much anything that's of a convenience, especially in America, I feel like in moderation's probably fine, but like just eating like frozen foods or like store-bought stuff that's already prepped together and full of preservatives just so it lasts longer on your shelf life. Just like sick of that type of stuff. You can't really escape it, yeah. Just trying to eat healthier in general almost feels like hidden knowledge in the world. It's crazy. Like think about how insane it is that we're just so comfortable going down to the store and we just look at like a label, and for some reason that just feels natural to us, like, oh, this is appealing to me. But little do we know, gotta read those labels and educate yourself. I feel like I missed tallying this encounter. But it's fine. I'll just add one. But that's like the whole point of today is I don't really care if the number is 100% accurate because like I said, I actually did some software sets off stream. So realistically, I've done this more than 27 times already. But yeah. It's definitely not going to... The idea is this is not going to be... This is not going to be fun. I've seen people go 20 plus hours. I don't even know if some people even got it realistically this way. Like, I know people have, like... There's so many different strategies on how to make this hunt faster. But, like... This is not something that I'm, like, excited to do. I'm not gonna lie. But it's just, like, the state of Pokemon games. If you want to be a legitimate player. Like, I'd probably have more luck finding a shiny Pokemon in Gen 2 than getting this Pokemon correct with the right IVs. Which is a goal I've wanted to do, is revisit, like I've been software setting in Crystal for a shiny Cyndaquil. I put that hunt on hold a while ago, but that is something I do want to start doing again. Because I've never gotten a shiny from Gen 2. And I've never once software set for a starter in any generation. So that would be super hype because my goal with that Cyndaquil was going to be try to get as many ribbons on it as possible through the ribbon journey. But also I wanted to transfer it up and evolve it into a Hisuian Typhlosion. I thought that would be really cool. Yeah. But yeah, it's just Pokemon. Making little mini goals for fun. Gonna have to get more coffee here soon. But yeah, thanks for tuning in today. We're gonna probably stream for like an hour or two. Just try our best to get some software sets in on Ursaluna here. Yep. So remember, we have to be faster. If we're not faster, we software set, and we just continue on. You love the Indigo disc. That's good. I'm glad you enjoy it. Yeah, like, for me, what I'm doing right now is not particularly fun to do, but it's something that's a necessity to do for me to get my legitimate Bloodmoon Ursaluna that I can use in VGC. And if you're not familiar, VGC is the official format by Pokemon for the competitive scene. It's when you see the 2 vs 2 battles with all the regional tournaments and internationals. And Bloodmoon Ursaluna is actually a good Pokemon to use. I mean, granted, knowing me, I always find ways to not run these Pokemon that are required to like software set like crazy for. But, like I said, I imagine there's still going to be another year or two of Generation 9 competitive. Usually they last a few years, the competitive scene for each generation. I've been putting off this hunt because it wasn't really necessary for me to do to progress in the story. But Iron Crown, who's one of the new Paradox Pokemon in Violet, that's one that I actually want to build a team around and hunt for, but I can't do that until I do this hunt. And I'm not going to rush through this hunt just to do that hunt. Because the whole point of saving this hunt was to get the 0 speed IV at least. So yeah. Now I'm kind of like rushing it. So this is my second day attempting the hunt. I'm going to be optimistic about it. But yeah. I normally wouldn't even stream before work like this. I'd probably just relax, but definitely feel motivated to try my best to... I mean, again, it's all going to be RNG if we get it. Yeah, Trick Room, it's not easy to use. I mean, honestly, Trick Room has kind of been in a weird place this generation. Like, there's definitely some viable Trick Room teams that have been good. I mean, Armarouge and DD were like a standard duo, but I feel like those two wouldn't show up as much in tournament play as much as they showed up just like on the ladder. That tech with Armarouge and Indeedee is a lot more deadly in a best of one close sheet format than it is in a tournament format. Because one of the competitive edge of running those two, you don't exactly know who's going to Trick Room. You don't really know if it's weak armor or flash fire arm rouge. Like there's a lot of like little layers to it. Like even the Terra type, if you don't predict correctly what move to throw into it and it can live, you pretty much lose a lot of times because it could just either Trick Room, go for straight expanding forces in psychic terrain and just completely sweep you. Like it does so much damage. But the Iron Crown Paradox Pokemon, it's a psychic steel type that gets expanding force, but it's faster than Urshifu. So it's a Pokemon that you can do a similar type of strategy with like the Psy Spam, but you don't have to set up Trick Room with it. You can just send in Indeedee, set up Psychic Terrain, and then start going for expanding forces. And Iron Crown can typically outspeed a lot of things that you want to outspeed to hit with that Psychic move. So that's a Pokemon I want to hunt for, but I can't do it until I do this quest. And arguably I want to use Iron Crown more than Ursaluna here. But like I said, I mean, I've been saving this. Yes, I could create a second save file and play through the entire game just to do this hunt again, but personally I just want to like one and done it type of situation. I'd rather just go through the trials and tribulations here. And like I said, I'm probably make some sort of compromise. I at least want to get 0 speed IV. That's at least one requirement I need for this Pokemon. I will make an exception for attack IV more than likely, just to keep my sanity. But yeah, this Pokemon is not fun to hunt. Excuse me, I'm a little congested still. I'm getting better, but I still have like phlegm from my sickness. You can't breed legendaries or mythical Pokemon. See, Scrafty, see the thing about Scrafty is it's 4 times weak to a very common type, being fairy type. But I actually am going to build a team around Scrafty for Regulation F. I have a team already that I'm going to recreate from my X and Y era, and it does have Scrafty on it. Like, I like making spicy teams for VGC, trying to use more accessible Pokemon as well. But yeah, I just like having options as well. And once you catch these, they're pretty good for a decent amount of time. I mean, I don't really know what the plan is for Paradox Pokemon in the future, if they'll still be competitive after Gen 9. Who truly knows? But I guess the idea here for me is that I'll catch these, they'll be viable for an undisclosed amount of time. Yeah, you could run Terra Poison. I was thinking that for sure. I mean, anything that gets access to Fake Out is viable. Like, there's better Fake Out users for sure. I mean, Incineroar is definitely like top tier as a Pokemon, especially with Terastallizing. But yeah, I mean, anything that has Fake Out, you can actually use it just because it has Fake Out. Alright, let's keep on going. Just clicking on through. I wish we could skip through this. Like, I wish there was like a fast forward button that just skips through the dialogue upon repeats. Yeah, it does get Rock Slide also. I don't remember if it gets access to Knockoff or not. Knockoff would be pretty sick on it. Okay. Soft reset. I'm gonna get more coffee real quick while I let that load. Be right back, chat. Alright, I'm back. Alright, so this is a 31. I think. I mean, I know I've done above 31, because I've done some off-stream. I wanted to try to do this live, that way there's always, like, legitimacy behind my Pokemon. I mean, it's not like anyone's asking me to sit here and stream them and prove that none of my Pokemon are gen that I'm using, but I don't know. Definitely one of those things that definitely creates an interesting discussion around the topic. You were watching Possessed Toys on YouTube? Like, what do you mean? Is it just like urban legend, or are they like created to seem real? Is that funny? It sounds creepy in a way. Alright. Just clicking on through. There it is. It was cool they added this form in the game. A little throwback to Legends. Oh, excuse me. I mean, Piran legitimately talks about the Hisui region when you do this quest line. Poor little Growlithe. Okay. Remember, we have to be faster for us not to soft reset. It's kind of crazy. Nope. Dang, it's so brutal. Let's get our soft reset in. This will be attempt 32. If I don't even find one with 0 speed IV today, that's crazy. That just kind of shows how impossible this will be. Because more than likely, if you find a 0 speed, like the chances of it having 31 in attack is probably more likely than anything else. Excuse me. It's when toys have low battery? Oh, so like when they make like, when they seem like they're out of power but they turn on or something. Alright. Here we go. Another encounter. You predict I find it on attempt 69? That'd be sick. If I did. I'd be happy with that. If I even just catch it live, I would be like ecstatic. But I feel like if I don't catch it before I go on my trip, I will probably be soft resetting on my trip for it, like on my flight and such. I just want to catch it, you know? So I can actually do the fun part of why I'm doing this. Battling. I almost wish I'd tried to do this hunt a while ago. But better late than never. Come on. Alright, we get the fight initiated again. Strength sap. Dang. So crazy. Yeah, exactly. Like sitting at the bar, getting ready to go on the flight, just having a beer. That's what I do with my animation too. Like I'll draw a lot when I'm on flights or trips. I'll work on like some of my shots. It's one of my like preferred things to do when I'm in the airport is like rip out my iPad and start working on my animation. Just go to the bar, have a beer, just kind of like zone out a bit. But this might take that place this trip, just because it's kind of like, it's not like stonewalling me in a part in the game, but yeah, I think I need to like kind of make some, like after I do this hunt, for example, I still need to do the ogre ousting questline to get the shiny Munchlax. I definitely need to try to make an effort to 100% this game. Like, I've been doing a lot of focus on my shiny hunting and trying to build a living dex. But I need to actually finish some of these story arcs, for sure. Alright, this should be another encounter. We'll see how long we go today before I gotta get ready for work. EJ Enterprise, I love that dude. He's a known Pokemon Go battler. Right. Just clicking on through. Yeah, this is one of those hunts that like I just have a nightmare thinking about doing, but if I actually find my goal, I will be pretty stoked about it. Absolutely plan on building around it if I find it. And I say if, but the reality is I'm not gonna do anything else until I actually get this, so. This is what I'm going to be. Imagine if I'm just stuck at this software set for like months. That would be a nightmare. I don't know if I could do it at that point. I'd probably just give up, more than likely. Like, I don't want to say that I'll give up on this hunt, but I can't imagine going for like weeks hunting for this, doing the same thing. Like, it just seems like a nightmare. And I bet you one day they'll figure out a way to RNG manipulate these hunts. Who knows? For the most part, it seems that, like, in most Pokemon games, they tend to figure out how to break the RNG. You had a Furby and it had a low battery, it was possessed. That's so funny. Yeah, because, like, doesn't, like, the voice box kind of get altered whenever they're on low battery or energy? Like, they do sound kind of crazy. And Furbies are already kind of creepy. I remember having a Furby growing up. It's like the only thing I remember about it is like it doing that thing. Alright. I keep forgetting if I'm like sending an encounter up one, but I think I've been doing pretty good about it. You think it'd be one of the easiest things to keep track of, but it's just so easy to just get like lost in a thought and not really be paying attention to the encounter. I usually try to press it right as I soft reset. It's kind of crazy that they shiny locked all the legendaries in this game. I don't understand why they did that. I still have not even completed shiny hunting in the Dynamax like format in Sword and Shield. One of these days I should bring that up and like do some group hunts for people that play Sword and Shield. I've never tried to get a legendary shiny in that game. And there's just shinies out there waiting to be captured. One thing that's kind of irritable about playing this game too is, say like Walking Wake, for example, how we can only catch one in a raid. You have no choice on how to, like if you get a ideally for a Walking Wake you'd want 0 attack IV. But the chances of actually getting the one you wanted is like almost impossible. And I'm in a scenario where mine, for example, has 31 in attack. Like it's one of its best IVs is attack. It's so annoying because I don't know how they're gonna make it so Raging Bolt, for example, that's one I'd want, but I'd want it as a special attacker. But more than likely, if they do make it available to capture in the opposite game, it's gonna be a raid. In same situation where we'll only get one capture at it, and it's gonna be random IVs. Yeah. Pokemon Go is essentially probably one of the like ways people get legendary shinies and starter shiny. We were talking about this yesterday. Pokemon Go has added a lot of accessibility for shiny Pokemon for a lot of people. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate that. I feel fine for the most part. Just that like I'm just like dealing with some congestion still. Season's been rough. I don't remember if I hit the encounter, but I think this technically is 35. Pokemon Go seriously just made so, or it still does, make so much money. It's crazy. Okay. Soft reset. Yeah, I'll just hit up the encounter now, so I remember. Oh my goodness, we've not even found 1-0 speed IV. That is nuts. That's crazy. Like, that's just straight up wild. Let's keep on going. The things I do to get a legitimate Pokemon. Wow. Like, I can't imagine this, like... I mean, if I try to think of it, like, I've done Masuda method hunts that I've got... Like, I've had to hatch like, over 1,000 eggs, for example. Would I be willing to go that far into a hunt like this to around 1,000 encounters? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't think about it too much. It's just one of those situations where I haven't even found one that has 0 speed yet that it makes me feel like, what if I was just doing something wrong this whole time? That'd be crazy to realize. Like, what if I had the wrong speed stat this entire time? And I've just been, like, not getting an accurate reading of what's going on here. Alright, let's go. Yes, I got this, Perrin. We've gone over this. It's like Groundhog Day. How many times? When will you learn, Perrin? Like, if I at least see once I outspeed, I'll feel much better about this hunt. Okay, just goes for Bloodmoon. Totally fine. I'm gonna open up this Grimmsnarl guide that Ada sent me. Just to see, like, what it says. Let's see. Oh wow, they have a Driftblim strategy too. Oh wow. Driftblim kind of does the same thing. Yeah, so to have... Okay, it actually says the odds right here. For it to have A 0 in any of the stats, it's 1 in 32, which we kind of knew. But to have 0 in attack and speed, it's 1 in 1,280 chance. Interesting. So yeah, it says that it has 77 speed, so we are doing this right for the most part. Oh yeah, perfect. Alfie actually already got you. There you go. So yeah, it's like 1 in 1,280 chance to get the IVs correct that you need. Both of them at least. I guess it's not actually that bad of odds. But I wonder if that's even accurate with like how the IVs are forced. Alright, we'll just keep on trying. Excuse me. That cough is wicked. Yeah, so pretty much every time that it outspeeds us, we just soft reset. There is a chance that technically if we do go first, it could be 1 IV in speed. But the thing is, that's actually still viable. Because at level 50, 1 IV is the exact same as having a 0 IV. So it wouldn't necessarily reflect negatively on the speed stat if you had 1 IV Pokemon. Or 1 IV Ursaluna, excuse me. I would totally keep it and use it. It would essentially function exactly the same. So I guess there is a chance we have seen 1 IV, and if it's a speed tie, it's a coin flip who goes first, pretty much at that point. No problem, Alfie's the homie. Right. Yeah, this is definitely quite the grind, isn't it? Let's see. Will we get lucky today? Hoping my workday goes fast today as well. Still gotta pack a little bit for my trip. Alright, just clicking on through. Yeah. Trick Room is kind of an interesting strategy because I think out of all the teams I've built this generation so far, I never really built a hard Trick Room team. I built a team that had Trick Room on it, but my idea of using Trick Room with, I think it was Fergaraf who I was using at the time, I ran Imprison on my Fergaraf, that way I could shut down other Trick Room Pokemon so they couldn't set up Trick Room, or I would use Trick Room against other Tailwind users. So if someone had like Murkrow or like Tornadus or something and they go for Tailwind, I would try to set up Trick Room, that way it completely negates their Tailwind and it makes all my Pokemon faster, because now they're even faster in the Trick Room because of my opponent's Tailwind. Nah, it's not really worth it. I feel like over time it would waste more time, and like the odds of it happening are very slim. Like, think of it this way, the chances of us finding the 1 IV would be very 1 in 32, right? But for it to showcase the speed tie correctly, it's a coin flip at that point. So, I mean, yeah, I guess honestly, there's probably a scenario where we would get a 1 IV, not win the speed tie, and potentially have no attack. I'm sure that's a realistic situation to happen. But yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Just keep on clicking through. I don't remember if I sent this up one. Definitely did a decent amount of resets already today. Yeah, honestly, like, maybe it could be worth it, but I'm probably not gonna check twice. Because then that means I check twice every battle, and for the chances of us actually getting the 1 speed IV, and like us checking and verifying it, that would just not be worth the effort, I feel like. I'd rather just not know, if that makes sense. I mean, it's like, I'd have to be extremely unlucky for that to happen to me. But yeah. All this just to get optimal stats for Pokemon. That's crazy. I appreciate you being here, Kimberly. Thank you for supporting my content here on YouTube. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. Alright, let's keep going. Did I send that up? I don't even know. Like I said, give or take, this is an accurate number. I did more off stream that I didn't account for. Alright, Perrin. Just trying our best here. Okay. It's awful. I mean, I'll definitely be live again tomorrow, whether it be continuing this hunt or if I'm lucky enough to actually catch one. Before then, we will move on to the Swords of Justice, the Paradox versions. But I'll probably prep my other Regulation F team that doesn't need any of these legendaries in my spare time. And when I get back from my trip, I'll probably do some streams battling. Alright, let's go. Okay. Waga. Bloodmoon Ursaluna isn't bad. Alright, so we send up another encounter. Just continue on. It's pretty much the goal here. I'm kind of shocked I haven't even found a 0 speed IV one yet, but 'tis the nature of hunting. And just, you know, it's all completely random. It's not that, like, 1 in 32 may be the odds, but the reality of probability, you're not guaranteed to get it in 132. Some people, they see it 120, 1 in 64, 1 in 100, you know, that's, everyone's odds and probability are going to end up being different just by the nature of how RNG works. It's just the facts. Alright. Just keep on keeping on. Roll. Okay. Let's see. It's awfully quiet, yes. Absolutely, Kimberly. Gotta surround yourself by people that make you feel uplifted. This guy is angry. Again, it's kind of crazy how calm they are. This thing, like just a bear in general, coming that close to you would tear you apart. Like, you gotta hand it to these trainers. They're fearless. Zero fear here. Alright, let's see. Imagine we actually found 0 speed IV. That's not the one. Dang. I hear a leaf blower outside. I don't know if you can hear it. You might actually hear it. It's loud. It's very loud. Alright, let's continue on. That's the drill. Let's see. Okay. How much do I got in me before I gotta go to work and get ready? Let's get our encounter. I just want to at least see one that I outspeed so I know this is working right. I mean, based on all the data I've read, Ursaluna has a base speed of 77 since its nature is static. Which thankfully they at least did that. If they didn't make it a static nature, this would have been impossible to really hunt. Without just fighting the entire fight every time. Like, imagine I had to beat this every time and then capture it just to see if it was the right IVs. That's rough, Kimberly. I'm sorry to hear that. I wouldn't take it too personal. You never know what someone else is going through. Okay. Just keep on keeping on. Alright, let's see. Do we actually outspeed for once? Nope. Yep, that's another reset. I kind of like having the visual number on the stream now. Makes me feel more accomplished. Because before, it's like I had no idea how many I did. And it was just kind of like this looping where I was like not even sure what I was doing was correct. But now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I don't have the best odds, but at least it looks like how it should. 44, apparently. I've probably done around like 50 something realistically, counting the ones off stream. I was just sitting there like, I started watching One Piece recently for the first time, the anime. It's been very enjoyable. Kind of shocked I never really got into it earlier. I mean, granted, it's a long series. I don't know how much I'll actually watch. But like the first season I've been watching has been really fun. I love the character designs. I love like the world building. It's very unique and creative and compelling, actually. Oh yeah, I think I know. Are you talking about Reversal, Alfie? I remember that. It took him like, I forget how many hours. It was a long time. He's like really trying to get that shiny Phoebus and no luck. It's so funny to think that like Phoebus is actually very obtainable in this game. But it's all about the method, you know, like how you went about catching it is what makes it more valuable or like sympathetic, or not sympathetic, sentimental, sorry, is what I meant to say. He used to be a pretty big Pokemon Go content creator, then he just stopped. But he always chimes in on Pokemon Go stuff on Twitter. I just can't. Well, Twitter is just one of these like platforms, or X, whatever you want to call it. I just can't stand it, really. Like, there's definitely interesting information that gets shared on Twitter that I do like checking out, like leaks or like theories. But like, Twitter is just such a terrible place to be. It's just full of like the worst takes I've ever seen on the internet. And then it's like a bunch of people that are like in agreement of these terrible takes. It's just like a platform that it almost feels like the angrier you are, the better it is for you. You have like a dozen shiny feedbacks from Pogo. Well, there you go. Hey, business. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining, and I hope you have a good evening also. I'm just sitting here trying my best to soft reset for the Ursaluna. We have a strategy in place that should help us speed up our hunt, but realistically, we're just banking on RNG. It's okay, Kimberly. You don't have to talk about this person. You're just... There's no point in mentioning them if they're not your friend anymore and such, in my opinion. It's good to try to like move on from certain things. There's a phrase that says, if you truly love something, let it go. If it doesn't come back, then it wasn't yours to begin with. Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you to wish me a happy, peaceful, beautiful year with my loved ones. I wish the same for you. Hopefully this is a great year for you and everyone watching. It's very nice of you. Alright. Starting off my new year, doing probably one of the worst soft resets in this game. Like, straight up. All to just never probably use this in competitive Pokemon. But at least have the option to use it. Yeah, I definitely understand that for sure. I'm definitely in the sentiment that, like, while there's, we are in a time where we're pretty much exposed to tragedies all around the world constantly. And humans aren't meant to process that type of information on that scale. And it's not like it's not a matter of even like, it's great in a lot of degrees that we can like be educated about world events and such, but at the same time, there's only so much you can do as an individual. And I mean, the reality is what you can touch and actually function in right in your daily life is probably the best thing you could focus on to try to spread some positivity and love to people around you. It's tough, definitely not easy, but yeah. I mean, for the most part, people that go on the internet these days, they aren't even like, it's like there's a lot of discourse on the internet about these type of world events, but a lot of times people are just pointing fingers or virtue signaling what they actually think, just so they can feel good about themselves. So it's a very confusing place to be. I mean, even now, like if you think about like the concept of like kindness influencers, like there's like controversy even just like around this like concept of something that we want to see in the world, right? We want to see people be lifted up, given money or whatever for being in a bad position. But then there's like all these like crazy like YouTubers who are straight up exploiting, knowing that that could be something that gets a lot of views. So they kind of exploit people in their worst time just to get like a video clip that they can post to the internet, and it makes them look good. Makes people feel good when they watch it, but not everyone participating in these acts actually want to be broadcast to the internet in their worst state. It's very interesting. There's actually this like one YouTuber, his name's Scumbag Dad, and he makes like a lot of parodies of like this type of content, with his like short form content. You may have seen him before, but he actually like makes some pretty based statements about like the current state of like the internet, where people are like, they care so much about creating a product. Like at least with like Hollywood and stuff, we know stuff is fake, right? But with the online internet and like the way some of these content creators make their content, you don't even, like, it's like people don't even necessarily care that it's fake if it makes them feel good, if you know what I'm trying to say. The capture of politics, I think I overcame the situation. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, Kimberly. Thank you, Alfie. I appreciate that, bro. Definitely one of those hunts. Read a soft reset here. I have not seen 1-0 speed IV Ursaluna yet. This is crazy. I mean, politics in general is just kind of divisive. I mean, like, when I'm not trying to be like whatever, but like, pretty much in America, it's just like one of those things where people just want to be right about something, and they don't understand how, like, there's a difference between disagreeing, like, people, you can disagree with anyone, but it feels like there's like this whole mentality where you can't just disagree with someone and respect them. You have to like elevate yourself and be like, I'm the right one here and you're wrong. And then it just turns into this whole like, no one's gonna be able to like see eye to eye about certain scenarios. It's just the reality of it. But because there's like no real discourse or like respect for each other, it's like we're viewed as, you know, bad guys. Like it's like this warped sense of morality people have, where it's like good and evil, but not, there's just nuance to everything, right? Like people just make such grandiose assumptions about things, and it's just crazy. Like if I lived my life based on the stuff I see on the internet in my daily life, I would be missing so many opportunities. I would be completely misinformed about my communities that I'm living in and such. You know, it's just like, people are not that crazy. Most people don't even like have time to think about the things that are being said on the internet, if that makes sense. Like people live in little echo chambers and they're chronically online, and they become like almost, I don't know what the word is, like indoctrinated by these like ideas that are just like proven in their little echo chamber, and that's all they look for in the world at that point, is finding that thing that proves their bias so they can feel correct. That's tough. So you live in Turkey, okay. No one here has any respect for each other, be it politics, football, or life views. That's rough, yo. See, like, football is like a good competitive type of, you know, like that's a good competitive, it's like within fun. I mean, some people can take sports to an unhealthy level, but for the most part, it's like having something like football that you can like root for your team and such. I see that as healthy. That's like a normal type of camaraderie that you can build. I don't know what it's like to live in Turkey personally, but yeah, like just living in the States, like people have lost their mind. Like growing up here, I feel like right now people are just, I mean, granted, I don't know. Like I'm not going to make an assumption about the entire civilization I live in, but yeah, it just seems like things have been unhinged in the States for a while now. Like mental health is at a low time. People really need to be like, I don't know what the answer is, but people definitely are going through it. Right now I live in California. I'm not from California originally. I've been living out here for like 6 years. But yeah, California. As someone who's not native to California and has lived here for 6 years, I have very strong opinions about how I feel about this state, but why am I still here? I don't know. Like, it's definitely, there's a lot of great aspects to it. Like, I can't deny that, like, the food is unrivaled. I love being around, like, all the different, like, access to food and culture. But it's way too expensive. I feel like people have lost their mind in California in general. Like, people who are born in California and have never lived outside of California have the most warped sense of what America is actually like. It's kind of crazy. My cat isn't in here. My door's closed right now. If she was here, she would just be sleeping right next to me. She's a little sweet girl like that. She's a good cat. See, that's crazy. It's expensive where you live. Minimum wage is not enough to survive. That's very similar to a lot of American states right now. Like I was saying earlier, I actually work 2 different jobs to make ends meet. Like I can't just work one job right now in my current situation. And well, I rent right now, so I'm not like most people. I'm 35. I would want to own a house. For me to own a house, I probably couldn't even live anywhere near where I'm currently living, realistically. Which I would be totally down to move out of this state and buy a house in a completely different state, even if it was like remote. Like I'd rather live in the country where I can actually own land than continuously living in a city that definitely has fallen apart a lot since the pandemic. There's other cities that have got hit way harder, like San Francisco, for example. Like you'd think San Francisco, like I guess if you like don't know much about the United States, typically like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles are like some of the biggest cities, very liberal cities in the country. But there are definitely some of the worst cities to live in. I personally feel like they're some of the most racist cities I've ever seen. And San Francisco right now is actually insane because during the pandemic, a lot of the tech companies that pretty much built up the entire city moved out of that area due to taxes. A lot of them moved over to like Austin, Texas, like different like places where they can pay less taxes overall. And now San Francisco is kind of going through a very similar decay that Detroit experienced whenever all the automobile companies pretty much relocated and left the city. So there's crazy like theft going on in San Francisco. Homelessness is even worse than it's ever been up there. It's just becoming like a ghost town of what it's been. And it's just like we're still seeing like the early effects of like San Francisco kind of becoming what it is. Because most people that who even work in the tech field can't even afford to live in San Francisco. It's so crazy to me. Like I don't know. I'm so glad I don't live anywhere near there, but that's crazy. Yeah, that sounds like very like unbalanced. Like what do people even do? Like housing is just like way too overpriced. Like I always think about how much money landlords make in Los Angeles in general, and it just seems criminal with the disconnect they actually have to these properties. Like they're not actually out here maintaining, or they get like, I know our landlord gets super annoyed if we ever try to call them for a problem. Like things have gotten better over the years, but like, yeah, sometimes you just get super unlucky with your landlord, aka slumlord is probably the better term for a lot of these type of people. But they just get to collect this massive paycheck every month, do the bare minimum work, if any work, and the housing's particularly not that great either. It's like really shoddy walls, thin walls, no insulation, not even like triple pane window or anything like that, you know? Just poorly structured buildings that just purely based on the location, they can upcharge it. And every year it just seems to go up like a crazy amount of money. But yeah, I can empathize. I can totally empathize with living in a situation where you want to own land, but you're forced to rent, and even your yearly income probably doesn't meet the standard what you need. It's just not like a good place to be for people right now. It seems like there's like this growing, like, it seems like, at least like in America, it feels like the middle class is like dwindling, or it's like the lower class is so much closer to poverty than the opposite. Like people who are making money or rich or well off are more well off than they've ever been. It doesn't really make sense how that's how it has to be or how it is. Like I don't want to get too crazy in like semantics or like economics or anything, but it's one of those things where you just feel like, what is the point of doing anything when it's all against you for the most part? Like, most people that find success or even like really great jobs are just handed the job. It's not like they did anything to necessarily earn it. It's like who you know. Yo, what's up, Ron? Welcome to the stream. In some parts of Turkey, it is not welcome for women to work, bro. By his own side, the reason for this religion belief that people have difficulty making ends meet and can't eat properly. Yeah, that makes sense. Like like obviously like the rules and the laws in Turkey are entirely different. So yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. You've been to Florida before as a holiday. That's cool. Did you go to Disneyland? Florida is definitely, if you're not from America, that's like not a bad place to visit. I mean, I know there's a lot of like crazy stories from Florida with like alligators and just Florida man or crazy people, but I don't know. I feel like Florida, if you're not from the States and you're trying to go to like Disney and such, that's definitely solid. You didn't go to America. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, if you're from Turkey, what are the chances you're going to come to America unless you're like on business or something, right? Where did you go abroad? I've been to Europe before. You know what's interesting? I've wanted to go to like that part of the world. Like I have a little bit of Hungarian in me. I've wanted to go to like some like Eastern European countries at some point. But I have been to France before when I was a little bit younger. I was very fortunate to go on that trip though. My parents really busted their butts to try to like send me and my sister on like a... We took French in school, so there was like a trip that our class did together. So I was very fortunate to have that opportunity. I'm not hunting for a shiny Ron. What I'm doing is I'm actually hunting for a certain IV spread on Bloodmoon Ursaluna. So Bloodmoon Ursaluna is shiny locked, but in competitive Pokemon, you ideally want a 0 speed IV and a 0 attack IV, Bloodmoon Ursaluna, for competitive play. Bloodmoon Ursaluna shines the best in a Trick Room format. So I'm trying to get 0 IVs in both of those stats, and I'm using my Poltergeist here, or Sinistcha, excuse me, to like be able to check the IV before I even do the fight type situation. So if I'm faster than Ursaluna, that means it's 0 speed, and I have yet to see one. So yeah, pretty much I'm just resetting for IVs, and this is definitely, I think it's like 1 in 1028 chance of finding the correct IV spread that I'm looking for, but it's definitely a grind. Yeah, that's true. We don't need to talk about like economics, that's for sure. I mean, part of the reason why I'm playing this is to escape that, right? Oh, you went to Indonesia, that's cool. I would like to visit the Philippines one day myself. I'm a quarter a Filipino. That's like an area of the world I'd like to visit one day, just because it seems like over there they get even fatter than us in America. Like they definitely have like some crazy food they be eating out there. All right. Yeah, so pretty much the way this works, every time Bloodmoon Ursaluna is faster than me on the first turn, that means that it's not 0 speed IV. So I can just soft reset with no problem. Where it really gets tricky is the minute I actually do outspeed Ursaluna, we're going to use Strength Sap to heal up. And if we heal more than 103 HP from Ursaluna, that means that its attack IV is higher than 0. The way I'm going to look at this fight, or this grind, I definitely want 0 speed IV. That's a priority. I definitely need 0 speed IV. The attack IV, I will probably compromise, because realistically, this hunt is going to become a nightmare if I try to get 0 attack IVs in both. What is my favorite region and favorite starter? Yo, what's up, Sir Fizzbun? Great to see you. That's a great question, actually. What is my favorite region? Excuse me, I'm still a little congested. I'm trying to think what was my favorite game I've ever played. For Pokemon. I mean, I have so much nostalgia for playing Pokemon Blue on the Game Boy when it came out. But I wouldn't say that's necessarily my favorite generation. That is such a good question. That's a really tough question. I don't really follow the anime too often. I do like it. I actually dig the way they've evolved the animation style over the generations, but yeah, I don't really follow the anime too religiously or anything. But I do like it. Yeah, it's like such a tough question to answer because I don't even know if I'm like even being honest if I give you an answer. Like, I want to say Diamond Pearl originally, like Platinum, was one of my favorite generations because of like what it brought new to the franchise. With like online battling, Wi-Fi and such. But I almost feel like I want to say X and Y may have been one of my favorite generations to play through. I just remember how much hype there was during Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire coming out even. Like the speculation of new... Oh, okay! We're faster. This is a 0 speed IV. So I'll actually fight this and catch this just to kind of show you. Oh my gosh. We finally found a 0 speed IV. Alright, so we have Focus Sash, so we live. Now I'll Strength Sap on the next turn. If we heal more than 103, then it's not 0 attack IV, but I'm just gonna catch it anyways, just to see. Come on, let's see what its attack is. So let's see. Wait a second. That's pretty low, but is this accurate? The Strength Sap? Alright, we're gonna fight this. Whoa, we actually found the 0 speed. So let me fight this and catch it real quick. Yeah, I like Kalos too. I mean, I like... A lot of times, what's more memorable about the different generations to me are the competitive formats. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, I finally at least found a 0 speed IV1. I'm gonna catch this and at least see what its attack is. I will admit though, I do feel like Megas were a little broken. But they did make some Pokemon really cool, like Banette got Prankster with its Mega Evolution. Beedrill got Adaptability, which became really strong for like U-turn and Poison Jab damage. Alright, we're gonna fight this and catch it and just see what its attack IV is. If its attack IV is not best, I might just keep this. I might legitimately just keep this. Because the thing about 0 attack IV, if you're not 100% sure why you would want 0 attack IV on a Pokemon like Bloodmoon Ursaluna. So any Pokemon that is traditionally a IVs or physical attack investment. So the thing about it is, what attack can work against you being these type of Pokemon, whenever you hit yourself in confusion or you get hit by the move Foul Play, all of that damage is calculated based on your attack stat. So since you don't need attack IVs ever, and a lot of times special attackers are ghost types or psychic types, which are weak to dark moves, you want to minimize the amount of damage you're taking. So that's why you want 0 attack IVs typically. Alright, what should I catch this in? Safari Ball would be kind of sick. Sport Ball would be pretty epic, considering this ball is very rare. I might catch it in a Sport Ball. Because it matches its Blood Moon, and it's a very rare Pokeball. I was thinking Moon Ball, but I already know people that have done that. I want to try to be a little more unique with mine. So we're at least going to check the IVs on this and just verify that the strategy is working correctly. I'm a little confused about the Strength Sap, because that didn't seem accurate. So I don't think that was a good reference of how it should work properly. But we'll find out. Alright, let me just click through all this and then check it. If it's not 31 IVs an attack, I might just keep this for real. Like, I don't know if I want to sit here for days on end trying to get both. Because the foul play damage and the hitting yourself in confusion damage, honestly, is so situational where it will ever actually matter. And it's not like Ursaluna is typically weak to dark type moves. Like something like Golden Go or Flutter Mane, typically you want to get that 0 attack IV. It's kind of a crucial part of like the competitive build. But if you're not a competitive battler, none of this matters, just so you understand. Like, what I'm doing is primarily for VGC. And I'm not someone that wants a gen version of this Pokemon. So this is what you gotta do to actually play the game legitimately. It's a nightmare. Alright, let's see. Please. Okay, so it must have 1 speed IV. Yo, actually though, its attack is decent. That's actually not bad. Well, let me check this in a stat calculator real quick, alright, chat? So yeah, it has 78 speed, so we were actually a speed tie. Which is fine, understand, because whenever this Pokemon is in competitive, competitive Pokemon brings all Pokemon down to level 50. So even though it has 1 IV in speed, technically it's exactly the same as having 0 speed IV. So that's totally fine, I will keep that. Let me add, here, I'll bring up Pokemon Showdown on this stream real quick so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Alright, 1 second, chat. So I'll put this like right here. I'm gonna input these, I'm gonna try to get these stats with Ursaluna. So, Bloodmoon Ursaluna, so we know it's level 70, right? Alright, let's look. So, we already know it's 1 IV, which is fine. The attack looks like 107, let's see. It could be 6 or 7. Honestly, I might just keep this. It looks like... Okay, it has 16 in HP. Again, anything that we can turn to 31, we will, with a bottle cap. We don't really mind. I don't really need to know these other ones, but yeah. Special attack, defense were perfect IV. I think special defense too. So it's 1 speed IV, which is totally acceptable because it functions... Here, let me show you real quick, actually. If I turn this to level 70, excuse me, level 50. So see how it says 57 for speed? If I turn it to 0, it will be 57 also. So it doesn't actually matter that it has 1 IV, that's usable. It'll still work exactly the same in Trick Room. It'll count as the minimum speed that it could potentially be. You'll still lose Trick Room ties though instead of coin flipping. No, it will actually be a coin flip because it still counts as 57. So the IV isn't what determines the flip, it's the actual stat product. So having 0 and a 1 is exactly the same at level 50. So it won't be a coin, it'll still be a coin flip. It won't be, you won't guarantee lose the speed tie. So looking at this, so it could be 6 or 7, which means it's 78 attack, which is only 3 attack points higher than what it would be at level 50. Honestly, chat, I might just keep this. Like, think of it this way. The amount of damage that would be added, like say I have, so it'd be adding 3 attack points to my base attack. Having 6 or 7 IV is actually way better than some of my other potential options I can get. I'm really considering on just keeping this and not soft resetting anymore. Like, this is pretty good. Like I said, for For the attack, like if it was 31, I'd probably soft reset because that's a little too much extra damage to be taking from confusion and foul play damage. But in this scenario, I don't think it's so likely that those 3 points of damage are going to be game changing. Like sure, you always like there's still opportunity for it to be game changing. Like say I hit myself in confusion and I can barely live with 1 HP. Or say I get hit by a foul play and I could have lived with 1 or 2 HP, but I died because I have 6 or 7 attack IV. Personally, I'm okay with this. I think I'm going to keep this, chat. I think this is a pretty solid capture, and it kind of showed that the strategy works properly. Hardy nature, like I said, every time you catch this Pokemon, it's going to be hardy nature, but we can always change that. More than likely, we're going to change this to a quiet nature. So it's minus speed nature, on top of it being the lowest potential speed IV that can be at level 50. Plus it'll boost its special attack a bit more. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this, chat. I don't want to like... Yeah, this looks good. It's a nightmare that I didn't like... I mean, think of it this way, chat. Like, even though I caught this in about like 50 something resets, this could have gone on for 20 plus hours. I mean, granted, it's not perfect in the eyes. Like, the speed's perfect. Understand, speed is absolutely perfect for competitive. And that was my main goal when I was doing this hunt, is I absolutely wanted to make sure that I got a 0 speed. Because that's the main stat that's gonna be, that you need to be consistent. You need consistency in your speed tier. Otherwise, you will lose matches purely based on that. But the attack is one of those situations where there's so many teams you're going to face that don't even run foul play or a way to confuse you, that more than likely that stat product is almost never going to affect your gameplay. It's just that as a competitive battler, you're always going to want to build around Pokemon that are optimized stats regardless of the situation, because you never really want to... Pokemon's a game that you want to create as many positive RNG outcomes as you possibly can, because no one wants to lose to an IV stat product or to an accuracy problem. Like, for example, it's why most people don't run Hydro Pump over something like Surf or now Scald's back in the game. Because missing a Hydro Pump, even though you could potentially pick up a knockout with Iron Bundle, for example, those times where you miss Hydro Pump are going to flip an entire match for you. That a lot of times Pokemon competitive players pick 100% accurate moves over 80 or 90% accurate moves, because how much you play the game, you will experience games that you lose purely based on missing an attack. So that's kind of like the logic that I'm trying to create here. But yeah, honestly, chat, this Ursaluna is perfect for me because, like I was saying earlier, I'm probably not gonna like go too crazy using this type of Pokemon on a team. I will definitely build a team around it now that I actually have one that I can use. But yeah, to me personally, for what I see in competitive Pokemon and what I'm gonna end up doing, I do not see this Pokemon as worth the grind. Like, it's worth the grind to at least have it as an option. But yeah, essentially I have achieved my goal is all I'm trying to get across. So let's go finish up this quest line real quick. Can you visit my island on Animal Crossing? Yo, honestly, at some point, that would be fun to do. I didn't know, I don't even know, does anyone play Animal Crossing still? I actually have a whole, I've built multiple Pokemon gyms in my Animal Crossing world. Alright, let's talk here. Yo, I'm actually pumped though, because we successfully got as close as possible to the hunt that I needed. Understand, like, this Pokemon is perfect for what I need it for. So, I couldn't have asked for a better outcome for our first 0 speed IV Ursaluna. So I feel pretty lucky. Like, legitimately, this was not as long of a hunt as I anticipated it to be. Yo, I should name it Fozzie Bear. That's a good idea. Alright. Wait, you don't even know my name? My name is Sass. I didn't even realize she never asked my name. So what this means, chat, is that tomorrow when I go live, I'll actually be hunting the Paradox Swords of Justice. So that's awesome to know that I can actually move forward in my progression of the game. Hit that like button on YouTube because I found the Ursaluna that I'm gonna use. And they caught it in a sport ball, which is pretty sick. Oh, wait, they're gonna give me the Growlithe? Wait. Is that what happened? She just gave me this? Oh wait, what? What was that dialogue about? Wait, did she give me something and I didn't see it? She gave me a choice scarf. Oh, she did give me a Growlithe. Right? Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's a jolly nature too. That's a pretty good nature for this Pokemon. I mean, to be fair, I'm probably not going to use it because I already have a competitive Arcanine built that I actually bred in a Safari Ball. I actually did a full stream on my channel that you can rewatch. I was able to achieve this in one stream, probably one of my fastest Masuda method streams I've done. But I was very happy to breed a shiny Hisuian Growlithe in a Safari Ball and evolve it into this Arcanine. Very great Pokemon for competitive. Love it. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Bring it with you in BB when you talk to her. Wait, what's BB? Bring it with you in the blueberry... Wait, what's BB? I'm gonna name that... I feel like that's a silly name, Fozbear, for the Ursaluna. But it reminds me of Moxie, who's a very, like, up-and-coming... Not like, I wouldn't say he's an up-and-coming creator, but he's been blowing up during Scarlet and Violet, and I'm pretty sure that's, like... I feel like I've seen him call this Pokemon Fozzie Bear or something. So wait, if I bring the Growlithe with me to the Academy, what happens? Let me nickname this, by the way. How do you spell Fozzie Bear? Is it literally just... I think I was thinking of FaZe, like the YouTube group. Dang, this seems like such a dumb name now that I'm actually typing it out. Alright. We'll keep him in the box for now. We'll definitely find some usage for him. I have to make a team around this Pokemon now that I actually caught one that's pretty viable. Yeah, I know he's from Five Nights at Freddy. I know that. Freddy Fazbear, yeah, I know. Okay, so you're saying whenever I go do my Swords of Justice questline tomorrow, I should bring the Growlithe. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm actually going to end my stream here today, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to catch this Bloodmoon Ursaluna. Actually, real quick, let's bring it out and have him run around us. I am super pumped that I actually caught one that is acceptable for what I wanted to use. I mean, granted, it would have been amazing to catch it 0 in both stats, but this is totally usable and probably going to work just as well as the other one. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it. Thanks for tuning in today's stream. Remember to hit that like button on YouTube before you head on out today. The Sass Squad's getting stronger each and every day. Good morning, evening, afternoon for tuning in, and I will catch you tomorrow when I start my stream to do the Perrin questline or the Paradox Swords of Justice. So take care, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Have a great day.